This is the Fantasy Football Game Plan, where we talk about fantasy football and the NFL.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing okay. Tom Brady on the last drive last weekend managed to eke out a win for me. I had a 2% chance of winning when the drive began. He was the only guy playing left in the matchup between me and the other guy. And drove down the field and scored a meaningless touchdown. Garbage fantasy points count, ladies and gentlemen. And that was pretty exciting for me. I had pretty much given up. And yeah, even though they, couldn't score the whole second half, all of a sudden they scored easily in the last 2 minutes because that's when Tom Brady likes to score, I guess.
That's great. So you're in the playoffs, I take it?
That was a playoff game for me.
Oh yeah,
And
that's right.
we have a different format than you, so our playoffs started last week. So if I lost, I was out. So I have advanced to the final four. I'm playing the number one seed. But there's a lot of goings on in fantasy this week. One of the teams that's in our finals has Jalen Hurts as his quarterback. He's been riding him all year, and he's not going to play this week.
No, he's
So
not.
people are going to need some fantasy streamers. How did you do with your league? What's your playoff seeding?
So I made it. I made third place. So just I don't get my money back. Second, but it's still good. So I played the second place. This week in the semifinals, he has a stacked team. He picked third overall. I picked second overall. So his team is pretty stacked. Hopefully, some of my players would come back. My wide receivers really didn't do much for me last week, which made me lose the week. But that's okay. I was thinking about it, and I kind of looked at the standings. I was like, well, worst comes to worst, I'm still going to finish third. So I'm going to keep my bench as is. And I just rolled with my bench, and I didn't need really the production out of the bench. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been nice if I would have got second place. However, even with the players I didn't have starting, I wouldn't have beat the guy I was playing against. So, whatever. I'm excited. This is the big week. I believe this guy has beat me twice already this year. So this is my third time facing him, and it's going to be a tough one. So I'm looking probably at some waiver wire picks this week to really help me out, as my fab money is not doing anything in my pocket. So
Right.
maybe I might push.
And you still have some left, so good for you.
Mm-hmm. So just going forward now, Trevor Lawrence is basically a quarterback if he's on your waiver wire and you need somebody to replace Hurts to pick up, or go and get Trevor Lawrence so the guy that needs Hurts doesn't pick him up. So now play like the cards as who are the four players, or if you're in the playoffs, what are the teams in need and what do you need to prevent them from winning this week and potentially next week?
Right. Play some defense. It's not just offense. Play some
Yeah.
defense for fantasy football. Yeah. Okay. Well, so, QBs are slim pickings. If you can get Trevor Lawrence, they've been hot. Jacksonville has been hot. So try to get a piece of them if you can. That's great advice. I'm thinking about, the Garner Minshew is going to replace Hurts. And although they've got a tough matchup with Dallas, they've kind of been crap lately. And don't forget that Philadelphia is loaded. They're a good running team. They've got great receivers. They're getting Dallas Goedert back at tight end. They're going to have to throw because Dallas scores at least 4 touchdowns every game. So Garner Minshew could be a pickup on your fantasy waiver wire for QBs. What do you think?
I think I would go for Ryan Tannehill in replacement of
He's
Mitchie.
so injured. He's
Yeah.
so hurt.
But I don't know. Mitchell is Mitchell. He might pick. They might need the touchdowns. They do have a great running back core of 3 easy people that they could recycle. I just don't know if the ball's going to be thrown in the air, other than screen passes or
Yeah.
like things that they know that he could throw. Anything deep is going to be, I think, wishy-washy on that front. So
They might just hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, who always smashes Houston, and win the game, 17-13.
yeah,
It's an option. I know we're not killing it here with these QB picks. It's tough this week. So another option would be Sam Darnold versus Detroit, who gives up a lot of air yards.
if he has healthy receivers, his receivers have been a little bit banged up over the last 2 weeks, so they're like game day decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's really painful watching Zach Wilson try to play football. I'm so choked that Mike White is not playing for them right now because the Jets have such an easy schedule for the fantasy playoffs, and I have Mike White on my bench, but he's too hurt to play, and they're not going to clear him. They got a short week. They're
Yeah,
going against Jacksonville, and Zach Wilson's it's just a pain to watch him play. So I mean, if you're desperate, maybe he's a guy, but like out of all the guys we mentioned so far, maybe Sam Darnold is our favored one. And then you said Trevor Lawrence, which is a great suggestion if you can get him. It'd be
if
hard to
he's
get,
around.
but yeah, if you can get him, go get Trevor Lawrence for sure. All right, running backs. There's one name that pops for me. Who you got?
No, I got about 4 names, but the one that really stands out is the Indianapolis running back Zach Moss replacing Taylor, who I guess is they just taking him off of playing because there's no point if you're not making the playoffs. So Zach Moss is the buzzword of the day, I guess.
Yeah, he's a good pick. I think he'll get you some points. He had a lot of chances last week, and he didn't really do very much. Um, I think he had like 24 carries and got 80 yards or something. Um, I'm just he doesn't catch any passes. He caught none. And the thing is that they share time with this where is he? Dion Jackson, who's a better player, but he fumbled last week, so that's why Moss got more work. And they were actually leading that game, which is a whole other conversation. So I think they're going to be behind against the Chargers, so they're going to throw it more, which means I think that Jackson will be the better play. And then they have another guy that they're bringing in. I think his name is Wilson. So there might be three dudes there. So I'm a bit. I know they want to run the ball, and they lost their starting running back, and probably Zach Moss on that team is the best guy to play, but I just don't trust him.
Right. So who's on your list?
Well, the one guy that I feel like is a sure bet to like a real solid play is Tyler Algiers
From Atlanta?
from Atlanta because Huntley is injured and Patterson has been playing spottily, and this guy's available in a lot of leagues, unbelievably.
Yeah, he also gets the same snap percentages as Patterson. So that's a good pick up as well too. As they're about 50-50 over the last 3 weeks now on their snaps counts. So it's a committee, and
Mm.
I guess you're just trying to figure out who's gonna scramble for 13 or 14 yards on one play more than the next guy, right? So I've mentioned this in the past. They only use Kelly in the middle of the field when it gets down
Yeah,
to like a need touchdown or within the red zone. Eckler's inside,
yeah,
so it's just he's filling in. He won't get you many points. So,
yeah, yeah. I agree.
but
Yeah,
the one person that can get you points is Damon Harris from the Pats, as he sees pretty much the same um, level of play as Richard. Um, However, he gets more of the goal line work. So Richard Stevens can, scramble and throw the ball behind him uh, and do whatever kind of trick plays he wants to do. But Damon Harris is actually the goal line guy and gets the same amount of snaps. So,
And last week, one of my suggestions was another running back for New England because Harris wasn't playing. But I agree with you. If Harris is back, then he would be a good guy to look at, especially since Ramondre Stevenson might get punished a little bit for losing the game and basically the playoff hopes of the Patriots by lateraling to Kobe Myers, who did an even bigger bonehead move by throwing it to Jones on the other team and losing the game. It almost looked like it was on purpose. It's the worst thing ever.
I couldn't stop laughing when I watched the highlights of Chandler Jones stiff arming that. Like just like the pancake, like it was just like move over, and
Yeah.
I literally was giggling, like watching it run into the end zone, going, "Wow!"
Colossal breakdown. Bad coaching in New England this year. Bad coaching. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Craziness. Craziness.
And I guess one thing, and kind of like on the WTF side of things, is Green Bay. What's going on with Jones? Why did they give the ball to AJ Dillon so much yesterday? It's just to me, it's complex problem. Just something to note. If you're a Jones fantasy holder, he could have had an extremely great day for you, but AJ Dillon got a lot of the work at the goal line. So very complicated running back situation there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in Green Bay. Green Bay seems to always have a lot of drama. Just they seem to have a talented roster, but there's always like all these unsaid things going on there. No, I wanted to add one more for running backs. Jermichael Hasty backs up Travis Etienne. They've got a short week, and Etienne got injured at the end of the last game. So watch and see how many practices Etienne is able to attend this week, and I feel like Hasty might get the ball quite a bit on Thursday against the Jets, who are really hard to throw against. So if it's a tight game, and Zach Wilson's throwing the ball to the wrong team, and it's close, Jermichael Hasty might have a big one for you.
Nice call. Good call.
Right. Okay, now we're going to wideouts, unless you have anything else for RBs.
Nothing for RBs.
I'm looking at Juan Dotson on the Washington Commanders. 3 names went through my head before I finally said Commanders.
Right. There's a petition like with the new owner to change the name once again, but that's another conversation.
I really hope they do. I think Commanders is so silly, and as we've talked about before, if you have more than one commander, you just have a multi-headed monster that doesn't know what it's doing. You just need one commander.
I do like their uniforms, though. I think keep the uniforms. Just swap the name. I like the backplate for the names on the black jerseys.
We've got a Washington helmet right here. It's just I've got the logo covered up with an old trophy of mine.
Yeah,
because the old logo is not PC.
Right.
But Dotson has been injured the last little while, and then he came back for that game, and he looked really good. So there's a guy, he's probably going to be available in a few leagues, and I think he can help you. Heineke likes to throw to him.
Cool. Well, since Lockett has a little bit of an injury, Marcus Goodwin is back on the conversation. However, I picked him up last time when Lockett or DK Metcalf had some problem, and he really didn't do much. So, depending, I think he could be a flex option if needed, but he's there because of Lockett. So he definitely is going up to RB2 wide receiver 2 status.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen him do crazy amount of work. However, if you're needing a receiver, he's someone I also think that you should target if Dobbins is not sitting on someone's bench.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to know with him. He can be great, and he can really let you down. But I think, it's playoffs, and if you need a guy, he's worth taking a shot. I think they're going to throw the ball a lot, and he's their number 2 option. So I think that's a really good suggestion. And a similar guy, sort of in a similar situation, we've talked about Demarcus Robinson before. on Baltimore, but seems like Mark Andrews, I think he must be really hurt because he doesn't seem to be able to do anything anymore. He used to play well with the backup quarterback Huntley, but I don't know who's playing quarterback for Baltimore this week, so keep your eye on that. But it seems like Demarcus Robinson is the number one wide receiver for that team, and Mark Andrews isn't that it guy that he used to be anymore. All right.
Hopefully he's still around. I just have three. I'm going to quickly ramble off here.
Yeah.
Chris Moore from Houston. I don't even know who that guy is, but Cooks and Collins are coming back. So he had a great week in week 15. Can he do it again? I don't know. Hunter Renfrew, he's back, but so is Waller. So what is he going to do? But he definitely is someone that gets a lot of targets, and Carr likes him. And last but not least, a Detroit Lion, DJ Chark, who is a deep ball threat.
Yeah. Okay, DJ Chark. I like it. Tight ends is tough. We don't really have any new people, but one name that keeps coming up all the time is Juan Johnson from New Orleans, and he's available in a lot of leagues.
Hey, I suggested Hill last week, and since he's a tight end, he also threw a touchdown.
Yeah.
So that's great. But yes, for a true tight end, if you need it, because Hill's probably already somewhere in someone's roster. But Juwan Johnson.
Hill was such a great suggestion by you, and he's such a great cheat code because he is a quarterback and a running back who plays a little tight end, and you can start him at tight end and get all those points from all those other positions. He doesn't do very much tight ending. He's not really the tight end on that team. It's some kind of flaw in fantasy football. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he should be eligible to start as a flex, but starting that guy as a tight end is a total cheat code.
I have one suggestion. We've mentioned him in the past. He's been an elite player for the last couple of years in the league. He's also a commander, Logan Thomas. He looked a little lost last week when I was watching the game. He really wasn't too sure because he's just kind of coming back. But he gets 63% of the snap counts for that team. So he's on the field quite a bit. Yeah. So if they need to do some adjustments, he could potentially get you some points. And like you said, if Kelsey got you 10, if Logan Thomas gets you 10, you're in a good boat.
Absolutely. Tight end's such a dart throw. And my last one is going to be Tyler Conklin at Jacksonville, because Zach Wilson, he's not that great, but Conklin's got a good matchup with Jacksonville. And now, defense.
Okay. My two. The Broncos, because they're playing the Rams. And the Titans, because they're playing Houston.
Yeah. So I think the Bengals at New England is a good play because New England's offense, and the Chargers at Indy because Indy's offense.
And to go to the kickers, I'm thinking that Badgley is a good pickup this week because I watched that game on Saturday and all I saw was field goals.
Okay, see, that's really funny because I have the kicker that's going against Indy. So I've got Dicker, the kicker, again, from the Chargers, because I like saying his name. And he's going against Indy, who I think is not very good. And the Chargers should be scoring more points than they are. So they're settling for more field goals than they should be. So, yeah, there we go.
I have one more.
Yeah.
The Jets, Zerline, because... they have trouble passing the ball and running is kind of complicated. So as a team that's doing okay, close, and they're always in close games. The kicker seems to be the one that's helping them either win or lose. And he almost won the game for them against Detroit, but Detroit finally got some shifting powers and didn't lose the game in a final drive field goal. So yeah, we have Christmas coming up, Christmas Eve games, Christmas games. So not really too sure how the fantasy watch from me is going to be during those 2 days, but I will definitely be paying attention to the scores and highlights and who's actually catching most footballs, considering I'm in the semis, and so are you. So good luck.
Yeah, I'm glad we both made it this far.
Anyway, Sean, you have yourself a good holiday, and good luck next week.
Okay, good luck. I hope you win.
Okay, you too.
Thanks, Scott.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching the Fantasy Football Game Plan podcast. Need coaching on your lineup? Drop us a line and we'll discuss your dilemma.